What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Dead on Dave. Welcome back to the channel. It's time for episode number 4 of the most dynamic, amazing, transcending show about talking about wrestling than you'll ever see. It's called Between the Ropes. No, it's not. It's called Running the Ropes with my That's my other show that I tried to do that failed miserably. And it's with my good buddy, the one, the only, the incomparable Jesse J.
That's right. I'm incompatible as well. No. I don't know what the fuck.
I'm unconstitutional as well, Dave. That's what I am. Yeah, I've had so many damn show names that I tried to make work, and they all get confused. But Running the Ropes is here, and it's an amazing show. It's where Jesse
everyone has a rope show too, so it's hard,
Yeah, Hanging from the Rope. That's a different show.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, I know. I know, right? I'm the bad one. This is the show where Jesse and I go through some of the most incredible moments in wrestling history and break them down, and we look at them through new, fresh eyes, and we have a lot of fun. So, hope you guys are ready. Jesse, are you ready?
Oh yeah, this is actually probably one of my favorites so far to talk about.
Yeah, we've talked about some good stuff, but this one is probably the most, and we talked about the Montreal Screwjob and all that stuff, the double turn, but this is probably the most emotionally charged episode we might do.
Yeah.
Because not only is it, in my opinion, probably one of the top 5 greatest matches in WWE wrestling history, I believe that it's one of the most important for a lot of different reasons. We're talking about the 1999 I Quit match at the Royal Rumble between The Rock and Mankind. This match was not only epic to watch, but it told an amazing story that I don't think has ever been duplicated in wrestling. I don't think there's ever been a story told quite like that. And there's so many reasons as to why. But the ramifications that this match would hold for not only Mick Foley in a personal sense, but for the wrestling industry, this was probably the most talked about thing that would come from that damn movie that I forgot the name of, because Beyond the Mat.
Beyond the Mat, yeah.
Beyond the Mat, yeah. It became a huge thing from that movie.
Yeah,
it changed things.
Yeah. Well, when you say it's one of the best matches, you're right. I don't know if you could say that from a technical aspect, but from a just storytelling and you can say violent, but it was just the storytelling. It was, you watched a man get, you could say beat to death almost. He's almost. He was fucking beat to shit. One of the most gruesome matches WWE ever did.
Yeah, I did. Very, 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 very true. It was, from a technical aspect, was it Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit? No, but it had a lot of very good spots. It was just so fluid. Everything about it, the brawling. Mick Foley was probably at his best in the ring at that period, which was kind of funny because his body was really starting to break down at that point. But the stories he was able to tell with the things that he was doing was just amazing. My God. Every time that The Rock would, and even Mick Foley doing the same, every time The Rock would stick the microphone into Mankind's face and tell him, "You son of a bitch, now say I quit!" And Mick Foley would come back with things like, "Kiss my ass, Rock," and "You'll have to kill me, Rock," and all of these things. "Go to hell, Rock. You go to hell first, you son of a bitch." It was.
You know what I liked even more? You're right. I didn't like after a while when it got to the it just felt like, let's do another line,
Yeah.
But it still was good. I'm not taking that away. But what I really liked is there was one time where he asked him, "Say I quit," and he just goes, "No."
Yeah. Then how?
He just screamed. That's all. It just sounded so real. Like, oh shit. He's gonna beat your ass now.
Well, I've always been a fan of those I Quit matches where you actually stick the microphone in the guy's face, because that to me, that's 70s wrestling. Before Hell in a Cell, and even after, it was like it fell between what a Hell in a Cell was supposed to do, and if a cage match couldn't settle it in the 70s, you had an I Quit match.
And they did the microphone.
And they did the microphone bit.
So when tapping wasn't when they really didn't do the tapping bit? Yeah.
No, the tapping, that was for a different thing. There was no in I Quit match, in a traditional I Quit match, tapping didn't count. Fucking pinfall.
You literally had to vocalize like I've had enough.
You have to physically say I quit. And one of the better ones that I saw that didn't go to unbelievable violent lengths that you would see like in a lot of the NWA stuff, early NWA stuff, I should say, and a lot of the territorial things, was Ric Flair and Terry Funk, who finished their legendary feud in an I Quit match and was awesome.
Son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch, say I quit.
I gotta. That's cool because I didn't watch back then. I've heard of their feud. I've never watched it.
Great feud.
I'd like to watch that match. That just
I highly recommend that. Yeah.
That sounds like a winner, man.
But this match between The Rock and Mankind harkened back to that for me. It just like it went back to it. I remember one of my favorite things that happened in that match was there was no words. The Rock put the microphone into Mankind's face, and Mankind just went.
Yeah, that is actually even better than the point I brought up.
It was
that's
just
even more real.
Oh my God! It was like he was just done. Jerry Lawler did some of his absolute best work ever on commentary during that match.
So did Michael Cole. To be honest,
yeah, he did. Mick still wishes that would have been called by JR.
Hey, who doesn't, right?
But still, I mean, he would have liked to have. I believe what he says was, "I would have liked to have seen what JR would have done with that match."
Shit, yeah.
But Michael Cole did do a good job. But Jerry Lawler was selling shit on
I just thought of that. What he did for the Hell in the Cell, Jim Ross. Oh my God, what he would have done for that match.
I remember there was a point. The Rock actually nails Mankind and causes him to fall onto an electrical circuit board. And the WWE handled it so well. They were so prepared for that spot. It was one of those memorable things because it could have came off hokey because the sparks flew and it looked kind of silly. But then the lights went out. Yeah. And the crowd fucking lost it. Cole and Lawler go absolutely apeshit. And you know how good they sold it? You know how well they sold it? That nobody even brought up the fact that although that the electrical circuit board was supposed to knock out all the power, we're still watching the broadcast and they're still talking.
No, it didn't matter. It didn't
matter.
The other thing too, like this entire, I don't know if, it's probably because of how hokey it is now in general wrestling. Yeah. So I was gonna say that I think the last time we saw my quit match was Cena and somebody, right?
Yeah,
And I've even seen ones in the past 5 years. I've seen ones that probably with him in it too that were they were hokey. Mm-hmm. They weren't believable. When there's spots like that now, you don't believe them, but you believed those sparks and stuff because you're seeing Mick Foley get the shit beat out of him.
Foley got wrapped in cables during that spot. He was wrapped in cables. I was like, he's really gonna get electrocuted. This is fucking nuts.
I mean, yeah, you didn't think about that stuff because it was. Why would you? Everything else has been real in this fucking thing.
Sure, it just felt real, and
they made you think that they hated each other. You felt it. You
yes,
were just like, wow,
you felt the hatred. The last match that I can remember, the last really really good I Quit match that I can remember, and it was only because the match. It wasn't because of the ending. It also had to do with Mick Foley, and it was one of his final matches. It was Mick Foley and Ric Flair. It was one of his comeback things.
Oh my God, when in the hell was this?
It had to be 2007-ish, maybe 2000.
Was that on? That wasn't a pay-per-view, right?
It was a pay-per-view. I want to say it was one of the bigger ones. It was like SummerSlam.
I never hear that talked about.
Yeah, it gets forgotten because the ending was so atrociously bad. The match was incredible, and it had so much to do with Melina. Melina was big into this storyline for some reason. This was after the book that Ric Flair wrote where he called Mick Foley a Muppet stunt double or whatever. And so they're working together, and they have this incredible match where Ric Flair is like swearing at Melina and shit. Like Melina's trying to protect Mick Foley at one point, and he says, "Get away from him, you bitch, or I'm gonna gouge his fucking eyes out." I mean, you hear this. Yeah, it's incredible. Like, you want to talk about like palpable hatred. But then the match ends because Ric Flair threatens Melina. Ric Flair put his like foot on Melina, was about to bash her fucking head in with a baseball bat, and Mick quit. That's why Mick quit. And
Mick really is a hero.
Yeah, but it was funny as fuck. And the ending sucked, but that match is incredible. I want
to hear Ric Flair. Oh, gouge your fucking eyes out.
He does. I'm gonna gouge this son of a bitch's eye out. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, get away from him, you bitch. I'm like, what the fuck? It was
God.
great. It was awesome.
Ric Flair probably did have some of the. I gotta watch some of his old stuff.
Yo, this wasn't even. This was towards the end.
No,
of
no,
Ric
no.
Flair,
I know,
yeah.
but I think of him, and I think of I Quit matches. Who could
Might have
make
been 2005. I can't even remember.
He just sounds like he would be a lot of fun in an I Quit match.
Yes, he
Shit,
was.
he would scream,
His I Quit matches, because Ric Flair came from this era, and going back to this match with Mankind and Mick Foley, we saw it in this match where they sold the pain. Ric Flair would scream in agony when he was in submission holds, and the way he would scream, and he would scream, "Oh God!" and the way he would scream "God," it was incredible. You saw this in this match between The Rock and Mankind, and it went everywhere. I mean, the pain, the heavy breathing, The Rock,
the handcuffs,
that came into play a little bit later. But The Rock doing his stuff where he would take the headphones and do commentary and everything in the middle of the beatdown.
So good.
It was nuts. And then, of course, at one point, The Rock busted out the handcuffs and handcuffed Mankind's hands behind his back. And he did this in front of Mick's family. And we saw Mick's family in the crowd prior to this point. But when they handcuffed Mick Foley, if you go back and watch the match, there's about a 7-second spot where they just show his wife and kids.
It's funny. I have watched that match, and it's half-assed was looking for his family, and I think I get so captivated by the match, or I just don't pay attention. Whatever. I still haven't seen his family during the match.
Yeah. They show him, and they like fixate on him, because there's a point where you can hear her console the kids. You can hear her say, he's going to be okay, Mickey, because she's talking to Mick Jr.
Yeah.
And
I've only seen that on Beyond the Mat. I'm gonna have to fucking.
It's great.
I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't see it, because I'm so enthralled by the fucking match, though, because it's something you can watch.
Yeah.
Unless you don't like to see the violence, you can watch that thing and be entertained every time you see it. It's just.
For me, what really started to blur the lines for me. At the time, Shane McMahon was one of the most sadistic people in the company. He was always like chanting for people to get him and sick him, and all. He was worse than Vince.
He was playing a great heel role.
He was sadistic. It got so bad. Shane McMahon came out to stop the match.
Yeah, and this is when the corporation was really
in their prime. Yes.
Yeah.
And so he comes out to plead with The Rock to stop it, and The Rock loses his fucking mind on Shane. Quit. He goes, that son of a bitch is gonna say I quit, and I'll be damned if he don't.
That was great.
And it was like saying it gave me chills. Because I remember the look in his eyes. The Rock looked like a legitimate psychopath.
I have never seen him that much in a match be that way.
Ever. Not before and not since.
That's right.
Not before and not since.
That was never done again.
No. And now we get to the part that's really hard to talk about. Because before the match, for those of you who don't know, there are two different types of headshots. There's a protected headshot and there's an unprotected headshot. And it's all in how you deliver the chair shot. Usually, when you have a protected shot, there's a hand usually on the opposite side of the camera that is absorbing some of the blow. So you're not getting the full brunt of the chair. And people could take them. You could take one. I could take one. They don't hurt most of the time. And it also really does depend on where you're getting hit on what part of the chair. It's very important. They decided they were going to do. From what I understand, they agreed to 3 unprotected chair shots onto Mick Foley when Mick would have the handcuffs behind his back, when he'd be handcuffed. That's what Mick thought was going to happen, was 3. Well, when it was all said and done, he took 11. He took 11, and they are the 11 most brutal chair shots I've ever seen in the history of wrestling. He's taking these chair shots while handcuffed. And in the middle of, I think after the 3rd, he gets asked to quit, and Foley says, "You'll have to kill me." And that was the one where I knew it was getting bad. Mick had a little bit of an offensive flurry. Go ahead.
Well, I just got to ask you, because you saw the commentary, I did not. Yeah. Was that part where you talked about the headshots, how many they said they were going to do, and then how many he actually took? Is that the part that pissed him off?
Yeah, he was pissed off at The Rock over that. Because that was not the agreement, because unprotected headshots are unbelievably dangerous. They're really, really dangerous.
And he laid in every one of them.
Yeah, he didn't let off. The ones that apparently scared Mick the most, and I don't even know why they did this spot. It was after like number 7, Mick rolls out of the ring and starts going back up the ramp, and The Rock gives chase and starts hitting him in the back of the head.
Oh.
He gives him 3 or 4 to the back of the head. And the final one, he winds up and just waffles him harder than I've ever seen anyone swing a chair at somebody. And Foley goes face down into the ground, unconscious, completely gone, dead to the world. And that, of course, is when the unthinkable happened. And it's unthinkable because it didn't actually happen. Mankind said, "I quit," which he didn't. It was a recording from the Heat episode right before. And, but it didn't matter.
You know what's crazy? Like, I remember those fucking chair shots as you're describing them. That's how good this match fucking
It was so good.
Oh.
At the end of that match, I remember saying 2 words: "Thank God." And I was a kid. What was I? I was 16, 15 years old, something like that. And I just remember going, "Thank God. Thank God this match is over." And I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I just started probably 4 or 5 months ago, SummerSlam watching.
Yeah.
And I got to say, I was around 10 years old. I'd seen other stuff. I'd seen horror movies. I've seen violence, but I'd never seen real violence like that.
Yeah, and it's so funny to say real violence in wrestling.
That was one of that was the most violent thing I'd seen at that point in my life.
Look, I've seen all the bomb matches in ECW. I've seen the razor wire, all that stuff. Sabu and Mick Foley and goddamn Cactus Jack and Terry Funk. I've seen all those matches, and they are unbelievably violent and bloody. But for my money, I have never seen a more violent and aggressive match than I Quit 1999.
It was the hatred that they sold.
Oh my God!
Really?
Yeah.
You know someone's going to smack this other guy with a light tube, but they're working together. They're not always selling that hatred that these two were selling.
Yeah, and they did.
My God,
it was incredible, and better wrestling than people want to remember it for, because the first 15, 20 minutes of the match, it is just these two guys going after each other in holds and big time maneuvers, and it got crazy later on.
Yeah, it really was. What I said earlier about the technical aspect, I mean, it was actually such a long match. You got so many different pieces to it. It's more violence than anything. But.
It was, but it is one of those things that I will never forget. It was
now.
Awesome.
All right, would you worry about, I know you got a daughter and stuff, but if for people out there, would you worry letting a kid see this match right off the bat?
No, not me personally. Because
okay.
I'm a firm believer in the whole make-believe thing. You have to know your kid. And if you know your child can't differentiate between fake and not fake, even in a match that blurs the lines as well as this does, then they obviously shouldn't be watching.
Yeah, it's like if they have nightmares, you don't let them watch a scary movie.
In some ways, this is the match that I would see if my kid could handle watching wrestling. Because if they can watch this match and still want to watch wrestling afterwards, that's a wrestling fan. That's a wrestling fan. Because some people are going to be put off by it. They're going to be disgusted by this match. It's just going to happen. So I don't think my kid would like it. I don't think my daughter would like this match. I don't think she would watch it.
I'm surprised you like it so much just because I know you like you're not a big ECW guy. You're more of a 70s, 80s guy, right?
Yeah, but I think people forget the 70s. The 60s and 70s is probably the most brutal era in wrestling because it still had this taste of 1930s and 1940s wrestling that was mainly done in circuses, where bleeding was almost a must, whether it was done by there was still a lot of capsule work at the time, and people weren't bleeding as much. But in the 70s, they were. And if you watched a lot of territory stuff, like I did, Texas death matches was the most brutal. I mean, Texas death matches are some of the most brutal matches you'll ever watch. So I'm a fan of brutality, but in today's climate, I'm not a blood clamor. I don't clamor for gore and blood because I'm not a gratuitous guy. I don't think
necessarily just blood. The violence alone.
Yeah, well, see, I think extreme violence is good when it's not gratuitous. If it doesn't have a point or a purpose and it doesn't, then I don't see the point in it. Like if I want to watch a guy get his foot blown off by a bomb, I can go fucking watch that. It doesn't serve a purpose.
And this match really, as much as Mick kind of would probably disagree, this match, it all served a purpose in my opinion.
It did. Everything that was done served a purpose, and it had things that resonated well beyond the match. I mean, it changed chair shots. From that was 1999.
There's too many chair shots. I will say they could have done a few less of those, but
I don't think you see too many unprotected chair shots after that match. You just don't see it. You start watching. I mean, and the match they have that we're not really going to talk about too much because we're going to do another show on it. The match they do 1 week later at Halftime Heat. It was 1 or 2 weeks after that match. In the empty arena match at Halftime Heat, almost just as violent as that match. But they don't have the unprotected chair shots. I wonder why.
Yeah.
I wonder why. So it's one of those incredible matches that will never be duplicated, arguably should never be duplicated, and I'd say could never be duplicated. It's just a product of that time, perfect place, perfect people, perfect setting, and that's what we got.
Yeah, I mean, for them to, they did everything that you were getting at WCW, WWF, ECW, but they made it so much better because it wasn't gratuitous violence. It wasn't just wrestling. It was so much more. It was such a special match.
It's a special rivalry, too.
That's great, yeah.
Because when you think of The Rock, the first thing you think of is Stone Cold. When you think of Mankind, the first thing you think... Well, that's the thing.
I really do.
Well, when you think of Mick Foley, the first thing you think about is The Undertaker. So for both of them, their feud is kind of secondary for most people. For most people, their feud is kind of secondary. And I think a lot of it has to do because of the friendship and partnership that they would have shortly after this. I mean, it wasn't 6 months later.
Sorry, finish your thought.
No, about 6 months later is when the whole Rock and Sock thing started to take off. Mm-hmm. So, and The Rock would start going face shortly after all of this. The Rock superstar. This is the match. Now, people want to talk about the other coming out parties for The Rock and everything. This is the match that made him a star. In my opinion, this is the match that took him from a regular, everyday star of that time and turned him into Stone Cold, turned him into fucking Hulk Hogan. This is the match that took him to that next level. That for me, that's the match that did it.
No, I think that's 100% true. I don't think by rock bottom they were trying to make you get to that point, and you were believing it. But when this match happened, you're just like, wow, both these guys are fucking badasses.
They're badass. I mean, the badassery here is unbelievable.
Yeah, other than Stone Cold, these two are top. I mean,
it was just a product of time. Any final thoughts on I Quit 1999?
I had one a minute ago. I kind of forgot.
I'm sorry.
Matter. No, it's fine. It's fine. By the way, that is the only reason I ever interrupt is because I know, I'm going to lose that.
Well, Dave will talk forever. You got to be careful. Old dead on will fucking yammer.
I could get a pen and paper and write some shit down.
That's too much work. Fuck that. Just say shut up. It's completely okay.
Hell with that. As far as this match goes, it's just, this whole thing made both of them, I think.
Did.
And it had its good and bad. They had some more matches after this, but this one, they had a lot of good matches actually, and I think they're all memorable for their own reasons because it's just such a special time. I think every part of 98, 99, even 2000 should all be kind of cherished for wrestling fans.
Sure.
But this match was just the best one that they had.
It was
just the most powerful.
It was also transitional because after this, Mick Foley would start to transition to a different guy. His matches would become less brutal, less frequently at least. He would still have brutal matches, but they were not as frequently coming because he was changed. People talk about how much the Hell in a Cell match took out of him. I think this match took more.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, I think this match took more out of him. I really do. I just his back and stuff can get fucked up from the falls, but when your head is messed up, that's irrevocable. There we go. Slow down.
Is that even right?
Yeah, irrevocable.
Oh, for fuck me.
It's irrevocable. That's right. I think I'm saying it right. Irrevocable.
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 No.
I'm looking it up right now. Irrevocable.
There's not another R?
No, it's Irrevocable.
Irrevocable?
Irrevocable.
That doesn't sound right to me. Oh well.
Google it.
No, your dictionary's wrong.
I did spell it the way you said it though, and it's like no, buddy.
Oh, I'm not surprised. I'm an idiot.
No,
No, I am not surprised. Believe me, every day I get a little reminder to how retarded I am. There's today's. It's wonderful. You know what? What time is it? It's 7:17. Wait a second. It's 7:17. God damn it. It's 7:17. This is probably the latest in the day that I got my daily reminder that I'm a mongoloid. Yes. Personal best. Hey, you guys.
Now, use it in a sentence.
The punishment that mankind took to his brain was irrevocable.
Oh, you got it right.
Yeah, I know what it meant, dick fuck. I may not always get the word right, but my understanding of meanings of words, this is the same guy that went to bat because Cronin kept calling it copious.
Copious?
Copious!
No, you know what's so funny about that is you're like the opposite of me then. See, like I can probably fix the how it's supposed to be spelled there, but I have a hard time with comprehension and the meaning sometimes.
Nah, I get the comprehension part down. I'm because I can't spell for fuck. Like my spelling's bad. It's really bad.
Let me tell you something. It's bad, Lois.
Yeah. Hey, Lois, diarrhea. Well, I think that's about going to wrap it up. We start going to Family Guy stuff. I think that's the sign. That's the sign. Ding, ding, ding. The round's over.
Son, I gotta say, it's one of my favorite matches I've ever seen.
Bang, bang. That's right. It was a great match. Good show, by the way, Jesse. Great job.
I always have a good time doing these with you, man.
Yeah, we rock it out with our cocking out, and we had a really good episode of between running the ropes, not between. Mongo alert, running the ropes.
God.
Thank you guys for joining us right here on Dead on Dave Productions for running the ropes with Jesse J and me, Dead on Dave. We appreciate it. And if you want to be involved in the channel, there's many ways in which you can do that. You can buy some gear over at www.deadondave.spreadshirt.com. All of the items there are made by the one, the only, the incomparable, I believe I'm using that word correctly, Isaac Rojas, who does all kinds of great things. So make sure you check that out. Also, you can what you should be doing right now, subscribing and sharing. That helps out the channel. Or you can take a more direct action and just go right into the description box and hit the little donate button and donate to the channel and help me start my climb to world domination. Do it $1 at a time. So I appreciate all the support. Jesse, I appreciate you being here. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you having me on. I was going to ask, I don't know if you normally do this, but what about, I guess if any fans have, any ideas of what future shows, not saying we're going to fucking do them.
Yeah, don't get too fucking excited. Yeah, we'll take it under advisement. Go ahead and, if you have ideas for future shows, go ahead and put them in the comment section below, and we will deliberate on them.
Yeah, there you go. That's a much nicer way of saying things.
We will put them in stern consternation. No question.
We'll fucking think about them, okay?
Yeah, we'll think about them. That's right. We will ruminate on them. See?
God.
Don't fuck with my word skills. Don't fuck with my word skills. All right. Well, that's all I got. Thank you guys for joining us. Really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you next time. And as always, if you don't have talent, have talented friends like Jesse. Peace.